who are you? Who are your customers? What's your methodology? What's the wrapper you're putting over your methodology? And that's your product ladder, right? You're not necessarily delivering your full methodology for, every client engagement. That would not be appropriate. That is what we do in the accelerator. That's the whole point. But we're kind of like dripping out the methodology so that our clients can receive the full suite of solutions and have the best value outcomes and transformation possible that individual consultant can provide. So clarity on those 4 things. And then the 5th thing in business is getting clarity on your go-to-market motion, like how you actually get clients. Yeah, it's kind of the holy grail of types of money. So, think about with your job, though many jobs are not nearly as secure as they used to be, or we sometimes believe that they are, but you are earning MRR, like with a job, with your paycheck. It's a steady paycheck, except again, not as secure as we once hoped. And so having control, autonomy, and feeling empowered and enabled to chart your own course. And, one point of emphasis in terms of who we serve, I have spent my entire career making one demographic wealthy. I'm married to that demographic. My son is that demographic, and that's all good. They're great men. And I'm going to spend the rest of my career helping primarily women, BIPOC, and the LGBTQ plus community. And so it's very important that those individuals are often passed over for promotions for the VP, SVP, executive level, certainly the CEO role. And so your income is inherently capped when you are in a corporate position. There is an absolute limit to what you can make. And so I am endeavoring, and my team are endeavoring to provide a different pathway to where you actually do have consistency, predictability, stability, control, incredible, empowerment. Like people leave our accelerator, you know what you're doing at that point. You understand business. Our accelerator model is like both the fish and the fishing pole. We're building your whole business or rebuilding it. And we're also teaching you how to think and act like a top CEO throughout the entire 7-month period. So that feels like a big why behind MRR and behind, owning your own business that earns MRR. So, that really could be extrapolated out to like my full answer, but the consultants and coaches that we work with, typically they come to us, they've been forewarned not to go and start on their own, and they want to start the right way. But others, we are doing very significant business remodeling projects, if you will, like taking them down to the studs or further, and defining kind of the why in the 10-year vision first. And then we do an audit. It's like a timestamp on where we're at now. And the whole work of the accelerator is, how are we bridging this gap over, what are we doing in the 7-month period in service of this 10-year vision? And again, it's really hard to earn enough money and to not spend all of your time doing marketing and sales and creating proposals and just constantly in the grind of new client acquisition. Whereas if you had to acquire fewer clients in the first place because you were able to solve problem after problem after problem for a very specific, narrow and deep niche in the business world, like we're creating businesses for individuals that serve businesses. Okay. So we don't work in consumer packaged goods. We work for
this idea of identity marketing, and this whole like 1983, you wear the ring, you're in the club, like we're going to connect, and that leveraging that also for something like sponsorships or insider access or certain status within that large alumni group. So cool.
Making sure that you are starting to build relational equity with whoever the gatekeeper is to those larger groups of your ICP. These don't need to be super famous people or anything. Like there's people with amazing communities, super niche communities who are not competitors of yours, who look for podcast guests and webinar guests and Q&A guests and panelists and keynote speakers and all those things. So you want to map out sort of like your ecosystem. Who owns my target audience? And then also we want to couple that with like, who do I already know? Like who's in my network? And then how can I build a bridge for a warm introduction between the people that I know where I'm at now and the people that I need to start building relationships with? So you don't like identify Dustin and be like, oh, I'm going to go pitch a webinar for him. No, that's super not human and super abnormal. You would never do that in real life, right? Like you would identify Dustin. Okay, where's Dustin going to be? Like, is he going to a conference or something like that? Maybe I'm paying attention to your LinkedIn. Okay, Dustin's going to Craft and Commerce. Sweet. All right. I'm going to start engaging with Dustin for 2 weeks on LinkedIn leading up to Craft and Commerce. And then I'm going to DM him and ask if we can like have, 10, 15 minute chat so that I can just learn more about his business and I have good questions for him. And then I'm going to ask, how can I be a helpful person to you? Right. Build a relationship before you ask for something. I talk about this concept a lot that Brene Brown uses. It's like putting marbles in the jar. And that's like building relational equity. There has to be some marbles in the jar in order for you to attempt to extract some marbles. And so you cannot build a relationship from emptiness, from nothingness. Like you have to actually go and be a human and do that. So this is not an overnight